like to think about automation in two ways. Everything I can automatically deduct from my paycheck even before it hits my bank account, and then everything I can automate once I have money in my bank account. Hello. I hope you are pumped to get your finances in order, and today I'll be showing you everything I do to hopefully help you in your financial journey. We'll be talking a lot about automating, because when stuff just happens behind the scenes and you don't have to worry about it, then you can't get lazy or forget. You're just building wealth even when you're sleeping. To go through all of this, the first thing I do is I open up some notes app and write everything down. I personally keep track of everything on a monthly basis rather than a bi-weekly basis because I pay off my credit cards once a month, so it's really easy to keep everything in order. I know my gross pay. In this case, I'll invent some numbers so it's easy to follow. Let's say I get paid $10,000. It's hard to know what your deductions and taxes are, and it's hard to calculate manually, so we'll grab these from the pay stub. But I do know that I want to max out my 401k and my HSA accounts. It's really easy to figure out how much you need to do this. You just take the max yearly contribution and divide by 12. So for 2021, it would have been $1,800. So I go ahead to our 401k provider. We have human interest, and I can actually go ahead and click max out contribution, though I don't always trust this. So I like to just calculate it by myself and type in a percentage over here. And if you're interested, these are all the funds that I'm personally invested in my 401k. The HSA is pretty similar. In my case, it's $240. Divided by 2 gives you roughly how much I'm contributing per paycheck. Similarly, here are the funds I'm invested in for my HSA. Do remember, these tax advantageous accounts are for investments. That's the whole point. So make sure you're actually putting that money into the market. Otherwise, you're missing out on a lot of potential growth. And the pay stub is important because it tells us how much money we have after taxes. And so the number we're looking for here is that take home up here. So again, let's make up some numbers. Let's say after everything, maxing out all the accounts plus taxes, we're left with $5,000. So this is the amount of money I have now to use, invest, do whatever I want with. The one asterisk is I also contribute to an IRA, but I don't factor that into our automation because I do that one time. My income bracket is too high to contribute directly to a Roth IRA, so I do a backdoor, which I'll explain a little bit later. So we have $5,000 that we can break down however we want. So in my case, you see here that I like to invest a large portion of it, and then I like to send the rest to a checkings account, which I then use for myself. Pay rent, have fun, eat good food, whatever. These percentages are actually accurate. This is what I personally contribute to. Feel free to match it. Feel free to tweak it however you see fit. So I first start off by thinking, how much money do I need? Let's say I only need $1,000 a month. That leaves me with $4,000 to go ahead and invest. I'm going to snap my fingers and all the numbers will calculate. Cool. So I like to break down my investing in my long-term investments and my more speculative short-term investments. I like to use Vanguard. So you can see here that I have a Brockerage, a traditional IRA, and a Roth IRA. But you see that the traditional IRA has $0 because again, I do that backdoor conversion. And so what I do is I contribute once a year into my IRA. I just hit this transfer money, contribute to IRA, and then I put in the max, which is $6,000. And I personally only put it in the money market fund. It gets a little more complicated. If you put money into stocks, they potentially grow, and then you do the rollover, then you have some tax implications. So I like to keep it easy. And then when everything is settled and the funds have actually hit the IRA, then I go ahead and do a rollover, which again is pretty simple. And in my Roth IRA, these are the different funds that I'm personally invested in. So again, really nice to have everything in one system so you don't have to worry too much about moving stuff out and in. Makes it really easy to roll over or do whatever. For my actual brokerage, these are the funds that I'm personally invested in. The really powerful thing here is, again, you want to automate these investments directly from your bank account. So the way I do that is I go to Profile and Account Settings. I set up an automatic investing schedule, and I set the frequency to every month. The money automatically moves out of my bank account, and I can set either specific dollar amounts or I can set percentages, and it will take care of everything. Then you might have seen that I also have high stake investings in my Robinhood account. You can't actually automate any of this stuff on web, and so I'll show you a quick screen recording. Because it's speculative short-term investing, I don't actually want to specifically buy any stock or index fund repeatedly. I just want money to hit my Robinhood account, and I can go ahead and just pick whatever stock I think is going to go up. Cool, so now that we've done the more traditional investing, I also like to invest in crypto. And so I've done a lot of research on where to buy, where to hold. I might make another video about all that. I personally like to buy all my crypto on Coinbase. In this case, I buy Bitcoin. I don't think you can automate it on a repeated schedule, which is a little unfortunate, but once a month, I'll basically move money in here and then I will hold it in Celsius so I can get interest on that asset. I don't personally have a savings account. I like to instead invest in stable coin, which give much higher interest rates. And so I like to invest in Gemini dollars on the Gemini exchange because it's free to buy and it's free to withdraw. That's all I have for today. I know I use a lot of terms and a lot of different accounts. I'll make specific videos on each one to explain, but hopefully this gives you some insight into how I break down all my finances, and I highly recommend you do the same. Till next time, cheers.